Hello and welcome back to the Weird Wayfinder, where I'm a little bit weird. Hopefully, you are too, but together we will find our way. So, I'm here now doing this reading because I had a vision of, well, at first I felt an energy pulling at me, and it felt a little bit heavy, but like it was moving in a weird way. And so I sat with it and I had a vision. And it was like a long, dark hallway. And where I was standing was a ball of yarn. And the yarn started rolling. And as it was rolling, it was unraveling. And I just kept following it. And I was like, where is this going? And then, even though the hallway was straight, it seemed like the yarn kept like rolling back over where it had previously been. So there was like overlapping squiggles of yarn that looked like they needed to be like detangled. And I was like, huh, how did that happen? It doesn't make any sense because we're going in a straight line. It should just be unraveling straight. And that's where it left me. I was wondering why that didn't make any sense. So here we are. And I pulled three cards from my Wild Unknown Archetypes deck because I feel like it is a deeper type of reading. So if that's not for you, that's totally fine. But this is where we are. And I am going to turn them over all at once because that's just how the vibes are working for me right now. Interesting that we have the riddle. I feel that. The mystic and Thanatos. Ooh. Okay. The riddle, the mystic, and Thanatos. Well, the riddle is fascinating actually because it kind of feels like the vision. Like, how did it get that way? How did it get tangled? And if we were just walking in a straight line, how did we get into this mess? And how do we untangle it if we're only going straight? Where are you right now, collective? Does this resonate with you already? Do you feel like you don't know how you got here? How you got into this mess? A riddle. It does feel like a question. Are you asking a lot of questions? Are you trying to solve a puzzle? Are you looking for the right answer? Oh, are you looking for the right answer? I feel like you've been looking for the right answer. You're wondering how you got here. You're wondering how to get out of here. You're wondering something. But if I remember this card, part of the message with this card is the only way to actually successfully unravel things is to stop trying so hard. Do you need to stop trying so hard? I feel like it's not about the right answer. It's not about doing the right thing or trying harder. I do feel like I'm getting a sort of aha moment. Now, the mystic here, it's not necessarily about intuition, but like it is giving me like your intuition, your inner self, something that isn't logical is part of the answer, if that makes sense. It doesn't have to make sense. Why did I just say that? If that makes sense. Maybe you're trying to make sense of something that you just can't seem to make sense of because it doesn't make sense. That's the answer. It doesn't make sense. And it's not going to make sense because whatever happened or whatever it is you're trying to unravel or navigate, the situation itself it defies logic. It or at least it defies your core beliefs, what you were taught to believe, what you were taught to think about how things are supposed to work. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't follow those lines of logical reasoning. And this can be a real situation that, like, things did not go the way they should have, or people didn't behave in the way they should have. The systems in society didn't work the way they should have. And you're like, why? Why are they doing that? Why are they acting this way? Why are they making these decisions? Why are they, choosing these paths? It doesn't make any sense. And it's not you that can't make sense of it. It's that the actual situation and all of those things don't make any sense. They didn't operate the way they should have. They didn't do things the logical way. I hope that I don't know. I want to say I hope that makes sense, but it might or might not. I don't know. I'm just going to leave that with you. But then we have the mystic, who is the seeker. And I feel like maybe if you are watching this video, that you are a natural seeker, you are a natural mystical person. And you can usually see through the bullshit. You can usually see beyond what is on the surface. You listen to your intuition, and your intuition is yelling at you, going, this shit doesn't make any fucking sense. And you're like, but it should make sense. Why doesn't it make sense? Because it doesn't. It's not you that's the problem. Although I feel like you've probably faced a lot of times in your life, probably growing up, but even still now, where like your inner knowing tells you when something is not right, and something outside of you in society or authority figures or your parents tell you that you're the crazy one. And so sometimes you question your inner self, your inner knowing, and you're like, well, maybe they're right. No, no, you're absolutely right that something doesn't make sense. I do feel like there's a sort of defying reality moment here. Like, yes, the situation is real. And yes, people's opinions are real, even though they seem to agree with the thing that doesn't make sense. They can't see what you can see. And it's weird that intuitively you are actually the logical one in this particular moment, even though you're using your intuition and they're supposedly the logical ones. It feels very backwards. I feel like because of this, you feel very alone in this situation. Like you're sitting in the dark trying to puzzle this out. And I feel like you do have the answer. You are correct in your perspective and the way that you see things. And they're the ones that have got things twisted up in knots. But you're still kind of sitting here alone in the dark. I don't know why it feels dark, but it feels dark. I feel like they're stuck. I don't think you have a problem with mysteries and riddles. I think you ask a lot of questions, and these people won't even let you ask questions. These people, I don't know why I said that. Who are these people? You tell me. Tell me in the comments. Who are these people? What is happening here, guys? These people, you're trying to ask questions. You're trying to understand. You're trying to figure it out, even though you already have the answer. And these people, whoever these people are in this particular scenario for you, aren't asking questions. They think they already know the answer, but they're wrong. They're confused. They're not being logical. They're not listening to reason or facts. They're not asking questions. They're not caring about the facts. I don't know why facts keeps coming up. So I feel like facts matter in this. Like really practical, logical things matter. And it seems like they're almost ignoring the logic. They're not asking the questions. You're asking the questions, but you can't ask the questions because they're not listening. They're not answering the questions. They don't care about the questions, even. They're just kind of like making it up as they go along, and it defies logic. It defies reality, like how things are supposed to work. I feel like this has really changed your beliefs, like a deeper your programming. It's changed your programmed beliefs about who to trust, who to listen to, who's got authority, like how people are supposed to behave, how things are supposed to be. Like you trusted this, you trusted these people, you trusted something, someone in this situation, and you realized you can't trust them. Everything you believed about them is wrong. And this whole situation has really brought that to the surface. It's taught you something about whoever or whatever it is that's defying logic right now. What you used to believe is no longer possible. And you're like, why was I taught to believe this version of things if this is actually the reality, if this is how they behave, if this is how they act or think or move about the world? And then we have Thanatos, which is like death, endings, the endings of these beliefs, the endings of this way of seeing things, the ending of thinking you're the crazy one. I don't know why that's hitting me here. I feel like facing, oh yes, okay, I'm getting like a visual of when I was studying these cards. When you face death, you will learn the truth. That's heavy. That's heavy. When you face death, you learn the truth. I think you're learning some truth about some sort of programmed belief, something that you were told to believe when you were young enough that you didn't know any better. And it's bringing this up to you now and in a very, very big way, like a life-changing way. This is hitting you hard. It's pushing you into the dark. It's making you feel alone. But this is almost a culmination of shadow work, of something that like you knew before. So like bits and pieces of previous life lessons, and now this is like the boss level of them all put together. I know that sounds terrifying, but I think that if you are here and if this reading is making any sense to you, you know what I mean. Because you are a seeker, right? You are somebody that looks for answers, that looks within yourself, that analyzes yourself. You've done shadow work prior to this, but this is life. This is not just you sitting down with yourself, analyzing yourself, going within, processing, earlier parts of your life kind of shadow work. This is like shadow work showing up in real time. Something in your life has been heavily impacted by this situation, and it's showing you where you still had a really deeply programmed belief about something, someone, or some type of people or something that has to die now. Like you can't ignore it anymore. You can't, like, you probably didn't even realize that you saw things this way because of it until now, where this doesn't make any sense. It's like literally in your face. And there's no way that you can still reconcile your previous perspective with what is going on now. So it has to die so that you can see the truth about the situation, the truth about the people involved, this person, whatever the case may be for you, even yourself. Wow. Why? Why now? Why now? Because you were giving too much of your power away to it. And by it, I don't even mean this particular person, place, thing, structure, situation. I mean, in general, to society, to humans, to the structure, to the way things work. You were giving too much of your power away to it because you were still working within the system. I'm going to get a little bit woo woo here. Forgive me. If this is meant for you, you'll understand. Like I said, you were still giving your power away to the matrix. You have like one foot out and one foot in. Now we don't ever really leave, but we learn to work within it. But this was something that was something you didn't realize that you still were letting control you, the way that society runs, the structures within it, the authorities within it that you relied on or put above you, as far as like giving them more power than they should have had. People and how much faith you have in certain people, the way you see people, the way you see people in different positions, the way you live your life according to society's expectations. This can show up in various different ways that were just so much a part of your day-to-day life that you never really even thought about it to dig it up in the shadow work. Never even really recognized how that belief system was holding you back from accessing your power, your truest self, your innate abilities, your gifts, your ability to function and express yourself to the highest level in this life. Oh, this got deep. In order to expand, you have to understand that there are no walls. You are a limitless being. But this belief system that is dying now was something important on the grand scheme of things that you thought you had to work within, but it was really just another obstacle to kick over as you expanded past it. It's not real. It's not a real wall. It's not a real structure. It's not a real box. It's not a real limitation. This one's a doozy. And if it doesn't resonate with you, that is totally fine. There will be other messages on this channel that do. If it does, it's because you are a seeker. You are a shadow walker. You are a light being. You are a deep thinker, feeler, expansive. You can see beyond this 3D reality that we've created. Chariot, perfection. I don't know why I said perfection, but I feel like it's perfection. That is the thing. That is where we're at because the chariot overcomes the obstacles. Look how powerful she is. And look at that logic defying tiger that is behind her, protecting her. Just like you. You are divinely protected, divinely guided. You are an endless, powerful spiritual being, as are we all. But I feel like, in a way, just me saying that, like that doesn't surprise you. I feel like you understand that as a concept. You have done enough work, have enough natural openness to consciousness, to the universe itself, that you understand what I'm telling you right now. But embodying it, putting it into practice, is a whole nother level of mastery. And this situation you are experiencing right now is meant to remove another obstacle. It's a form of integration. It's something that is meant to help you embody this knowledge that I feel you have already gained and understand, but embody it in a way that you couldn't wrap your brain around before, which is why you're experiencing this type of real life shadow work in your reality. I feel like something big has happened in your life, and like life altering, world changing. Maybe you lost something, someone, your house, something. Because this also feels like grief to me. And you're kind of caught up in this moment still. You're in this web of Thanatos, which is death and truth and change. And you're starting to see how it's all connected. It's kind of giving me like, if you've ever watched the Matrix movie, when Neo finally clicks over into like, I understand now, and he can read the Matrix code on the screen and see how everything is connected and how it works. I feel like that's how you're going to come out of this. And something that you used to give a lot of power to is now going to feel like nothing, nothing important. Like, oh, they're just another cog in the wheel, just another circuit in the board. It's nothing special. Why am I letting that hold me back? Why am I letting that box me in? Why am I letting them make decisions for me? Why am I letting them affect my ability to expand as much as I want to? I feel like whatever it was limiting you, holding you back, making you think that you couldn't do something that you inside of you knew that you were capable of doing, but the original perspective you held, you were like, oh, but I can't because of this. And now this is changing so that you realize like, wait, that's not real. That obstacle's not even there. I don't have a better way to explain this. So if it's for you, you're gonna know. Queen of Swords. Yes. Okay. It's funny because I put that on top of the Mystic card, and I was telling you that even though the Mystic is very like intuitive, right? Mystical. Right now, you are the more logical one. You make sense to you. The situation doesn't make sense because you have this higher perspective. The Queen of Swords, she usually sits up in the clouds and she can see the bigger picture. She can see things clearly. You're not crazy. You are not being clouded by your emotions like people might be saying you are. And she's alone in this picture. She's kind of like up in this tower, I feel like, taking notes on how crazy this situation is. Justice. Justice. Yes. I feel like a huge part of you wants to make this make sense. You want to fix what's wrong in this scenario. You want the people involved to correct their actions, to behave reasonably and logically, and that's not going to necessarily happen. Although I think some of them might, or something in this scenario might change or adjust accordingly to make things balance out, to make things start to make sense. It's like in the middle of it, it's a whole mess, but in the end, it will come out in the right way. It will, put itself back together the way it's supposed to. But only after you go through this death, only after something has changed. And then balance gets found again, justice gets found again, the scales are fixed, reality is fixed. But reality is different now. Like, you're this giant ball of Play-Doh. This is the image I'm getting. This giant ball of Play-Doh. It's been shaped into whatever your previous belief was or whatever situation was. Somebody came along and stamped on it or played with it and squished it around. And now justice is going to come in and, put it back, fix it, make it nice again, but it's going to look entirely different because it'll never look the same. Because now it is what it was, what it really was all along. That's a weird scenario. Sorry if that didn't make sense. That's life. Uh, cool. New beginning, new way of seeing things. It's like you got new eyes. This whole thing is giving you new eyes. And as you have gone through this death and seen the truth and changed this perspective and overcome this obstacle and removed this shadow and removed this old belief that was getting in your way, now you have like a whole new set of eyes. You see the entire world differently. And because you have these new eyes, as you move through life after this, it's going to be like seeing everything like it's brand new all over again. You see everything differently. That could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, it doesn't matter because now everything looks different. But I think it also looks clearer. And again, you have this giant animal protector with you. In this case, it's a wolf, but like both times you are still protected. Let me move these up. Like you are being protected, you are being guided, you have the universe walking through this with you. And you have to believe, you have to have faith in yourself. The Fool does talk about taking a leap of faith. In this case, I don't think it's a leap. I think it's just you. It's just stepping into this new chapter, this new version of you, using these new eyes and just trusting what you see, trusting yourself that what you see is your reality, is real. Trust that you see the truth in things. I think that's part of what you're meant to get from this is no longer trusting anybody else's version of events. So you trust yourself before anything else. Does that mean that other people won't agree with you? No, other people might agree with you. Other people might see the same things. But I think that in the ways that you see things and you see through things, not everybody can do that. Hello, Freya. Can you scoot your butt, please? Thank you. Oh, we have the Knight of Wands. Okay, interesting here because even though it's a knight, when you put these together, does it not look like divine counterparts? Let me see if I can. Oh, my cat. It's Freya. Okay, they both have their giant animal protectors behind them. They both look almost superhuman. The cat enjoys both. Don't mind her. She likes to show up for readings. Okay, so I do wonder if after you stepped into this new version of you, this new version of life, you've got these new eyes, you're seeing things clearly. If you meet a divine counterpart of sorts. Now, if you are happily content, you've already found your person, that doesn't mean that you're going to leave your person. Okay, we're not doing that. Maybe maybe your person is your divine counterpart. Maybe you're going to bring out this best version of them as well, and you are both leveling up and growing together through whatever this event is that took place. If you are unpartnered, this could be your divine counterpart coming in. Somebody, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be romance, okay? It can be somebody that makes you just feel less alone in the world, that sees things the way that you can see things, that can meet you where you are. at whatever level of consciousness you are capable of observing. Where normally you feel like you're the only one, like in the beginning of this, it felt like you were alone in the dark. This is somebody that can see the same way you can, that is as conscious as you are, that has the same level of awareness as you do. I hope that makes sense. It could be a best friend, it could be a lover, it could be somebody you work with, it could be somebody that comes out of nowhere, but it is like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're finally not alone in seeing the way you do. But first, you have to trust your own eyes. You have to trust your own vision. This took a turn I wasn't expecting. That is the Nine of Pentacles. But in this deck, this card always makes me feel like Alice in Wonderland going through the looking glass. Right? She stepped into Wonderland and she's like, where am I? And why does everything look so weird? But then she learns how Wonderland works and she loves it there. And it's wild and it's crazy and it doesn't make any sense to anybody else, but it's magical. And I feel like that's where you're going. And I know that sounds crazy. Like, what do you mean? I'm going to go somewhere where it doesn't mean you're not going anywhere. You're not literally physically going anywhere. Okay. You're learning to exist in your authentic self. You're learning to see with your true eyes. You're learning to feel with your true energy. You're learning to break through the limitations that society puts on us, that the system has taught you to believe exist, that don't exist. You are stepping into your authentic self, expansive and limitless, just like she is in Wonderland, where basically anything is possible. That's where she's going. That's where you're going, where anything is possible. And that's amazing. All right. So this message took a wander that I was not expecting, to be honest. But here it is. Let me know if this resonates with you, because if it does, you are definitely in the right place, because you are my people. If you are a seeker, if you are a truth seer, if you are a shadow walker, any of the things, in any way that this message made sense to you, and I don't sound like a complete nut job, leave me some comments. Like the video, subscribe, stick around. Let me know how this message resonated with you. I'd love to hear it. Until next time, guys, stay weird, stay crazy, stay true to yourself.